Good morning, sir.
Good morning. First sum is find the values of the following trigonometric ratios. First is sine 22 and a half. Now, we know that we start from 2 sine square A because see double of 22 and a half is 45, right? And 45 is a standard angle. So that is why we start with 2 sine square A is equal to 1 minus cos 2A because 2 into 22 and a half will give you 45 degrees. So now if you put A is equal to 22 and a half degree, we'll get 2 sine square 22 and a half degree is equal to 1 minus cos twice 22 and a half degree. Okay, which is equal to 1 minus cos 45 degree. And 1 minus cos 45 degree is um, 1 by root 2 value of cos 45, right? So therefore you're getting 2 sine square 22 and a half degree is equal to 1 minus 1 by root 2. That means sine square 22 and a half degree is equal to half of 1 minus 1 by root 2. So you get half of root 2 minus 1 by root 2. So you're actually getting this as uh, uh, now if you multiply this in the denominator, you get root 2 minus 1 by 2 root 2. Okay, so therefore, and now if you break this up, yes, if you multiply the numerator and denominator by root 2, because I want to make the denominator 4, so I get root 2 minus 1, multiply the numerator by 2, multiply the denominator also by root 2. So now multiply everything in the numerator by root 2, you get 2 minus root 2 divided by 4. Okay. So therefore, sine 22 and a half degree is the positive square root of. We don't take the negative sign. Why we don't take the negative sign? Because 22 and a half degree is an acute angle and sine of acute angle is positive, right? So that is why we don't take the negative sign. It's greater than 0. 22 and a half lies in the first quadrant. So sine 22 and a half must be positive, right? So therefore you get this as root over of 2 minus root 2 divided by, and that's your answer. Okay, any question?
No, sir.
Moving on to the next problem then. Tan 22 and a half. Now again, 22 and a half, as I told you, is if you double 22 and a half, you get 45. So you start with tan of double of theta. Okay, you get 2 tan theta divided by 1 minus tan square theta. Now you put A is equal to 22 and a half. And twice 22 and a half is equal to 2 tan 22 and a half divided by 1 minus tan square 22 and a half. That means you are getting tan 45 is equal to 2 tan 22 and a half degree divided by 1 minus tan square 22 and a half. Okay. Now if I assume for simplicity's sake, let x is equal to tan 22 and a half degree. Therefore, what do we get? Tan 45, the value of tan 45 is 1. We get 2x by 1 minus x square, right? So that now if you see, we are getting a quadratic in x. Now if you cross multiply, get 1 minus x square is equal to 2x. That means now you're getting x square plus 2x minus 1 equal to 0. This is the quadratic that you are getting. Now we can solve this quadratic by Sridharacharya method. Minus b plus or minus root over of b square minus 4 into a into c divided by 2 into a. So you get minus 2 plus or minus root 8 divided by 2. Now root 8 you can write as a mixed as 2 root 2. Now here you can take 2 common in the numerator to get minus 1 plus or minus root 2 divided by 2. So that this and this will cancel. Now see here, you are getting minus 1 plus or minus root 2. And the point is that here x is equal to tan 22.5 degree. Because tan 22.5 will lie in the first quadrant, this will be positive. So therefore, hence x is equal to tan 22.5. Now which of the signs are you going to choose? Minus 1 plus or minus root 2? We choose the positive sign. So you get root 2 minus 1. Choosing positive sign. Okay. That's it. That's the value of tan 22.5. If you have any question, otherwise we can move to the next question. Cos 7.5. Now 7.5. What is double of 7.5? The double of 7.5 is 15.
15.
And you
15.
know that you know the values. If you remember when I was doing compound angles, I told you to remember sine 15 and cos 15 values, right? So double of 7.5 is 15, and you know the standard values of 15 also. So therefore, we are going to use. You are going to proceed exactly in the same manner. So 2 cos square a is equal to 1 plus cos 2a. This is what we are going, or formula that we are going to start with, because cos 2a we are going to need, because the double of 7.5 is 15. If you now put a is equal to 7.5 degree, you get 2 cos square 7.5 is equal to 1 plus cos twice 7.5. So you get 1 plus cos 15 degree. And if you remember the value of cos 15 degree, it is root 3 plus 1 by 2 root 2. Yes, now, so now if you take the LCM, you will get 2 root 2 plus 3 root 3 plus 1 divided by 2 root 2. Okay, so this is what you are getting here. Now you multiply the numerator, because you have 2 root 2 in the denominator. You want to rationalize the denominator. You multiply the numerator and denominator by root 2. So now if you multiply root 2 throughout in the numerator, 2 root 2 into root 2 will give you 4, plus root 3 into root 2 will give you root 6, plus root 2 into 1 will give you root 2 divided by 4. Okay. So cos square 7.5, you are getting this. Therefore, uh, 2 cos square 7.5, you are getting this, not 2 cos square. You're getting 2 cos square 7.5. So cos square 7.5, you will get as 4 plus root 6 plus root 2. You divide both sides by 2, you get divided by 8. Okay. So that means cos 7.5 degree is equal to square root of this. Now we are taking positive sign, because 7.5 degree is an acute angle, lies in the first quadrant. Therefore, cos 7.5 must be greater than 0. That is why we take, when we are taking square root, we take only the positive sign. So therefore, you get root over of 4 plus root 6 plus root 2 divided by root 8, which is square root of 4 plus root 6 plus root 2, and you can convert root 8 to a mixed third as 2 root 2, and that is the value of cos 7 number. Okay, next problem. One four. Tan 11 1/4. Okay, now tan 11 1/4, uh, because you're not actually expected to remember the value of, if you double 11 1/4, how much will you get? You'll get 22 and a half, right? Now 22 and a half, tan 22 and a half we have found here. So we are going to use this value of tan 22 and a half. You are not actually expected to remember tan 22 and a half. But if this problem is given, then it will be a little lengthy for you. If tan 11 1/4 is given to you, then the problem will become a little bit lengthy for you, because you will again have to find out the value of tan 22 and a half. You will have to first find out the value of tan 22 and a half, then you can proceed to find the value of tan 11 1. Okay. So that is a double work that you have to do. So we, since 11 double of 11 1/4 is 22 and a half, we start with the double angle formula. Tan 2a is 2 tan a by 1 minus tan square. Put a is equal to 11 1. Tan twice 11 1/4 degree is 2 tan 11 1/4 divided by 1 minus tan square 11 1/4 degree. That means you get tan 22 and a half degree is equal to 2 tan 11 1/4 by 1 minus tan square 11 1. Okay. Now tan 22 and a half we have already found out above. Okay. Just because we have found out above, we can write the value. Otherwise, you will have to first find tan 22 and a half for this problem. So we found this out to be root 2 minus 1. Before that, let us assume tan 11 1/4 to be x. So therefore, tan 22 and a half, we found it out to be, we have found this out earlier to be root 2 minus 1. Okay. This is what we are getting. Now what you do is you express this as a quadratic. So you cross multiply. So you get root 2 minus 1. This root 2 minus 1 you multiply with 1, you get root 2 minus 1. And this root 2 minus 1 you multiply with x square, you will get minus root 2 minus 1 into x square is equal to 2x. Okay. So now if you are expressing this as a quadratic, you take everything on the right hand side, then you're going to get root 2 minus 1 x square um, plus, sorry, this is not 2x square, this should be 2x. This is plus 2x minus root 2 minus 1. This is a quadratic that you are getting here. Okay. Now we can solve this by Sridhar Acharya. X is equal to minus b plus or minus root over of b square minus 4 into a into c. C, if you see, is minus root 2 minus 1. So therefore this sign will become plus sign from root 2 plus 1. Divided by 2 root 2 minus 1. Okay. So now what you are getting here? Okay, this is also root 2 minus 1. This is not root 2 plus 1. Because both of see both here are A and C. Both here are root 2 minus 1. Except this is C is minus root 2 minus 1. That is why this sign became positive. So therefore minus 2 plus or minus root over of this is 4 plus 4 times root 2 minus 1 square divided by twice root 2 minus 1. Okay. And now what you can do is you can take 4 out of the radical. If you see this 4 and this 4, if you take out, this will become 2. So this will become simply a 1. Is this step clear?
Yes, sir.
2 minus 1. So now minus 2 plus or minus, I expand within this radical, you expand here, you will get 1 plus, you expand this by a minus b whole square formula, root 2, a square is root 2 square, so it's simply 2 plus b square is minus, b square is 1, so 1 square is 1 minus 2ab, 2 root 2 into 1. So you simply get 2 root 2 divided by twice root 2 minus 1. So now if you simplify everything within the radical, you get 4 minus 2 root 2 divided by twice root 2 minus 1. And what you also see is that you can take 2 common in the numerator. So if I take 2 common in the numerator, I'm going to get minus 1 plus or minus root over of 4 minus 2 root 2 divided by twice root 2 minus 1. So this will cancel. Okay, so you're simply getting minus 1 plus or minus root 4 minus 2 root 2 divided by root 2 minus 1. This is what you are getting here. Now if you see tan 22 and a half, tan 11 1/4, this angle here, uh, this angle here is an acute angle. Therefore tan 11 1/4 must be greater than 0. It must be positive, right? So which sign should I choose here? You must
Positive
choose the
sign.
positive sign, right? Because only if we choose a positive sign, we'll get the value of this as positive. So hence tan 11 1/4 degree is equal to minus 1 plus root over 4 minus root 2 divided by root 2 minus 1. In brackets you can write here, since tan 11 1/4 degree is greater than 0. Okay. Now this is the value that you have found. Now you can simplify this a little further also. That is, you can rationalize the denominator. Let's see how to proceed with this rationalizer. You can leave your answer here also, no problem. 4 minus 2 root 2 multiplying the numerator and denominator by root 2 plus 1. You get root 2 minus 1 into root 2 plus 1. This is what you are getting. Now if you multiply everything, you will get minus root 2 plus 1 plus root 2 plus 1 into root over of 4 minus 2 root 2. And in the denominator, if you see, you have a plus b into a minus b form. You simply get 2 minus 1 in the denominator, which is simply 1. So now we only left with the numerator because denominator has become 1. So therefore what you do here is minus root 2 plus 1, and this root 2 plus 1, you insert this within the radical, within this radical. Okay, so this will become root over of root 2 plus 1 whole square into 4 minus 2 root, right? So this will be minus root 2 plus 1 plus root over of, I expand this, root 2 plus 1 whole square, you get 2 plus 1 plus 2 root 2. And this 4 minus 2 root 2 remains the same. So now you have minus root 2 plus 1 plus root over 3 plus 2 root 2 into 4 minus 2 root. Okay, so you get here minus root 2 plus 1 plus now if you multiply these two within the radical, you get 12 minus 6 root 2 plus 8 root 2 minus 8. So now you get, we simplify this, you're going to get 4 plus 2 root 2. And that is your answer with the denominator rationalized. Okay. So as I told you, you can leave your answer here also. I've just shown you how to rationalize the denominator and arriving at this answer. Okay. Next we come to the next one, which is next problem. Any question on this problem here?
No, sir.
Then we can move on to the next problem, which is to find sine 18 degree. Now sine 18 degree is an important ratio. In fact, you are supposed to remember sine 18 also. So 15 and 18 you are supposed to remember. Okay. 15 degree you remember from your compound angles. 18 degree you must remember from your multiple angles. Okay. So sine 18 degree and cos 18 degree you are supposed to remember. But how do we reach the value of sine 18? This is something that is very interesting. Uh, let us see how we reach, how we get the value of sine 18, cos 18 and tan 18. Part 1. Sine 18 we need to find. So I start by saying let A is equal to 18 degree. Why did I start by saying A is equal to 18 degree? Because I know that if I multiply 18 by 5, I'll get 90 degree. So therefore I multiply 18 by 5. That means I multiply both sides by 5. That means I get 5A is equal to 90 degree. Okay. Now what I do is I break, because I need the value of no, in this case we break 5A as 2A plus 3A, because we know the multiple angle formulas for 2A and 3A. That is why we break up 5A as 2A plus 3. Okay. So now once we break this up as 2A and 3A, we take 2A on one side and we write this as 90 degree minus 3. Okay. Now because we have to find out the value of sine, we take sine on both sides. Okay. So sine 2A is equal to sine 90 degree minus 3. Okay. Now you know the formula for sine 2A, it is 2 sine A cos A. And sine 90 degree minus 3 from complementary angles from your class 9 knowledge, or you can also say 1 into 90 degree odd multiple of 90 degrees, sine will change to cos 3, right? That means you get 2 sine A cos A. Now if you remember the multiple angle formula for triple angle formula for cos, the triple angle formula for cos was 4 cos cube A minus 3 cos A. This was a triple angle formula. That means 2 sine A cos A. Yeah, in fact, you take everything on one side. So you get minus 4 cos cube A plus 3 cos A is equal to 0. Okay. So now from here, you can take cos A common to get 2 sine A minus 4 cos square A plus 3. That means either cos A is equal to 0 or 2 sine A minus 4 cos square A plus 3 is equal to 0. Now, since cos A not equal to 0, since cos, what is the value of A here? A here is 18. Is cos 18 equal to 0? No. Since cos 18 degree, let's say, is equal to cos A not equal to 0, therefore, the other one must be equal to 0. 2 sine A minus 4 cos square A plus 3 must be equal to 0. Now, see here we have a sine and a cos, right? So, you convert this cos square here to a sine square. Get 2 sine A minus 4, 1 minus sine square plus 3 is equal to 0. That means now if you multiply everything, you get 2 sine A minus 4 plus 4 sine square A plus 3 is equal to 0. That means we can now write this as 4 sine square A plus 2 sine A minus 1 is equal to 0. Now if you see carefully, this is a quadratic in sine, right? Yes, can you see this is a quadratic in sine A?
Yes,
Because this
sir.
is of the form 4x square plus 2x minus 1 equal to 0, right? This is a quadratic in sine A where x is equal to sine A. So you can solve this by Sridhar Acharya now. That means sine A is equal to minus 2 plus or minus root over of b square minus 4 into A into C divided by 2 into A. So we get here minus 2 plus or minus root over of 4 plus 16 divided by 8, which is equal to minus 2 plus or minus root 20 divided by 8. Now you can 20 you can write as a mixed third as 2 root 5. Now you can take 2 common in the numerator. So that this and this will cancel. You ultimately get minus 1 plus or minus root 5 divided by 4. Now again, uh, sine A is equal to sine 18 degree is an acute angle, so it has to be positive, lies in the first quadrant. So therefore, uh, sine A is equal to, now from here, which sign should I choose? I should choose the positive sign. Root 5 minus 1, 5. That is the value of sine. Okay, clear? You have to remember this value. Hence, sine 18 degree you can write is equal to root 5 minus 1. Any questions here?
No, sir.
Sine 18, cos 18 values are important. So try to remember these values. Okay. The next question is cos 18. Sine 18 we have found out. How to find out cos 18? Cos 18 exactly similarly you find out, except that we are going to use cos square theta is equal to 1 minus sine square theta in order to use, in order to find out cos 18. Okay. Okay, we don't have cos 18, we have tan 18 in fact. But even then, even to find out tan 18, you will have to find out cos 18. Let's proceed to find out cos 18. So we already found out sine 18. So cos 18 degree is equal to root over of 1 minus sine square 18 degree. Right? Now put the value of sine 18 degree. 1 minus, we previously we found out this as root 5 minus 1 by 4, which is equal to 1 minus, now if you expand here, you will get root 5 minus 1 whole square. If you expand, you'll get 5 plus 1 minus 2 root 5. And here in the denominator, you're going to get 16. Okay, you take the LCM within the radical, you get 16 minus, and this 5 plus 1 minus 2 root 5 will become 6 minus 2 root 5 divided by 16. So you get here root over of 16 minus 6 plus 2 root 5 divided by 16. So you get here square root of 10 plus 2 root 5 divided by 16. So you get here root over of 10 plus 2 root 5 divided by 4. That is what you get. Okay. So we have got cos 18, hence tan 18 is equal to sin 18 degree by cos 18 degree. So you can put the value of sin 18 here. You know sin 18 to be root 5 minus 1 by 4. And you know the value of cos 18 to be, we just found out, to be 10 plus 2 root 5 divided by 4. So clearly here 4 and this 4 they cancel. So that you get root 5 minus 1 divided by root over of 10 plus 2 root 5. And that's your required value of tan 18. Clear? We cannot express it in a better form. You cannot rationalize the denominator if you go, because if you rationalize the denominator, you'll go mad. Okay, because this is a big rationalization process. You can leave your answer here. So I'll stop here then.